Alright, well, we are here for the first episode of Act 8. I've made some adjustments to the roster, which, like, I don't know. I think they were more or less necessary. So, first three, I mean, we saw this change happened on screen. These two, you saw them swap cars. Vert has taken XT3's car, the 962C. XT3 has taken my car. I'm taking a completely unique car. And Ryan has resigned from the event after, I don't know, I guess he just didn't wanna. But Byrne has taken his place in one of Alex's cars, specifically the one from Act 4, which literally dominated everything. Now, of course, the one issue here is I'm pretty sure that in basically every way, Alex's car is better than Byrne's, and I'll check that really quickly here. Because this game gives like kind of like a stats sheet. I've used it a couple of times to try and make cars balanced. So yeah, those are the stats of Alex's car. And when it says 350 plus kilometers an hour, that's about 220 miles an hour. 1,000 horsepower, by the way. Now the LaFerrari, which will be Byrne's car, has less horsepower, and everything else is basically the same for the stats that it actually knows. Doesn't know how heavy or light it is, so I couldn't tell you if it's going to have better handling or not. I don't know about Newton or NM for torque, though. I think it's Newton meters, but I have no idea. They both accelerate in less than 3 seconds. So there's also that. They might be mostly even. I don't know. I think the LaFerrari has some sort of like hybrid system that gives it a bit more power. I did try recording this once, and this is when I determined that I needed to change a couple of things, because I think I mentioned it at the end of Act 7, that Bert and Ryan were in cars that even I knew weren't exactly fair, but I didn't at the time really understand how I could really change that, and then I just kind of determined, oh yeah, no particular driver has to be here. And so I gave Vert a weaker car and gave Ryan Storm the can. Byrne took his place to kind of, I guess, meet the imaginary stunt track challenge quota that's not actually there. And now we're here, with hopefully a more even race. And the reason that I determined that Ryan Storm definitely had to go was because, like, by the end of lap 2 of this race, he was already ahead by 7 seconds. Meaning by the end of it, he would probably be ahead by, like, almost 20. That's not really good, so I had to fix that. Because I had a feeling that would happen literally every race, to some degree or another, unless Ryan wrecked himself. Which was entertaining, because Bert did just that. Had like one of the best cars in the race, and he just kind of squandered it by destroying himself into a corner while trying to pass, I think it was Alex. No, it wasn't Alex, it was, Carbon? I don't remember. Anyway, a lot of the weaker cars here actually started in the back. This is a slightly slower version of what XT3's car was at one point. This isn't actually the exact same car. And the thing too, Falcon is leading, but I know his car is fine. Also, it's 3 Porsches at the front, and then it's a Waff, and then it's Burns' Ferrari, then it's XT3's Ferrari. I know she's not there anymore. Oh, Grease Lightning's in 6th. And oh my lord, this car is loud. Wow, alright. Let's see how well Grease Lightning can strike back here. Yeah, I think Alex might also be overpowered. Oh, where are you going, XT3? That's not XT3, that's Bert. Where are you going, Bert? I wish this game had some sort of speed trap option. Wait. I want to know how fast Alex is going before he had to hit the brakes for that long straightaway there. Oh. It had to have been obviously fast, just I don't know how fast. For reference, Burn will brake at like 170? Oh, Alex didn't get that fast, but I think he was being hampered by Grease Lightning and XT3, that's probably why. Bubbles mystically is holding on to 8th place in a not very good car. Basically what I did was I attempt to keep the side characters, the Powerpuff Girls and now Mojo Jojo as well, mostly out of the picture. I gave them these Lamborghini Huracans because they're not as fast as everything else here, and I'm well aware of it. And the idea is they'll be a part of the race if they start up near the front, like what Bubbles did in this race. But they won't be a factor for very long, and we won't have like what we had last act, where we had 2 people that aren't even part of the Hot Wheels canon taking 1st and 2nd in the championship. Initially, I don't really expect the Lamborghinis to be scoring many, if any, points at all. But, I mean, we could already see that be thrown off just a wee bit because Bubbles is already looking set to try and do that anyway. Alex wasn't 3rd in that test race, so the fact that he's doing this right now doesn't really surprise me. I guess Alex is gaining an affinity for the right manufacturer here. He got Ferrari, and Ferrari just continued to produce winning vehicle after winning vehicle, and this game anyway. They can't do it in real life in Formula 1, but that's not my business. Then again, I don't know if that's not a winning vehicle or if it's not a winning driver. I don't know. Anyway. Carbon is not particularly imposing right now. But he did start in 14th, and he's now about to, claim 8th. It's like 175 down the main back straightaway. Garrett is still staying right on Captain Falcon, but he can't find a way around him. Falcon is the only addition that it doesn't follow the kind of hurricane rule. And that's because at the very least, he hasn't done terribly well otherwise. He didn't really do all that much in Act 7. But we've had... There's a great voice crack. Oh, I see. This car is not good. Yeah. I guess I didn't follow the rule with myself either. It doesn't matter because I picked something even worse. Alright, now we'll actually get to see that speed difference if there is one. If Alex does pass Burn in, well, even in this corner, which he doesn't do, but if he passes him down the straightaway, then we'll know that Burn doesn't really have much of a chance versus Alex. Then again, he also just got a really terrible line out of that corner. Alright, Gearhead, if you're going to win the race, you can't just sit there. I think the advantage is on the handling department. I don't know if Burn has like a... Maybe perhaps Burn has a better top speed, or if they're even, or what have you. But Alex has a very apparent handling benefit. It's to 166 down the straightaway. Burn I didn't see because he's too close. Turbo flutter there. Gearhead, lap time wise, is faster. I think this Falcon's car also has like 1,000 horsepower. It's from the old Can-Am series, and it's old for a reason, because it's like fatal. Look at this top speed, like that was the entire idea behind Falcon being in this car. If it were black, I'd given it to Crimson. What? Who? Crimson Fury? This is Twisted Metal now. No. I'd given that to Greased Lightning, but it didn't come in black. It came in white, red, or blue. So I'm like, okay, Falcon, because like F-Zero is about being fast basically all of the time, whether or not you're actually in control of your machine or not. So I just figured it kind of fit Falcon to drive such a vehicle. And apparently that's worked for him because he just wins the race. So Bubba's already shut me down. Also, Alex was definitely faster. I'm just sitting here thinking the entire time, like, the Lamborghinis are never going to score. And then Bubbles gets ninth in the first round. Alright then. Now, in a concept of this act, which I think was in that extended preview that I did a while ago, there were more GT cars like this in the race. And yeah, the 787B that Ryan Storm had and Mercedes were there still. But this was Byrne's car originally. It was going to be this color as well. But they decided Byrne couldn't even be here. And I don't remember who took his spot from that, but now Byrne is here again anyway, and Bubbles, along with the other Powerpuff Girls related characters, are all driving that same car. I thought to take this one out and just make it 15 and do what I've done every time so far. But I figure, like, hopefully some of the performance deficits make the racing a little more interesting. Like, you know, like a really fast car, like Alex starts in the rear of the field, and we have some slower cars in front of him. That should make it interesting to watch. But I kind of hoped this track wouldn't be as boring, but then I remembered that this is this track and that it's always boring. And unfortunately only remembered it as I just hit load the next race. And as punishment, Bubbles now starts last. I just get eaten alive off the start because my car is terrible. And it's like the same top 3 qualifying or starting grid from the last race, I think. Definitely Burt and Falcon. I guess Gearhead was here and he's down in 12th. So it's not the same, but it's close enough. So I should mention now everyone knows that Carbon is the organizer. And he's not exactly an imposing figure right now. Sounds like now I feel bad for the girls because they're not even getting really a chance to even do the race. I say this as Blossom is still in 6th, and given that this track, she can probably lose up to 2 places per lap. Up to being the key word, meaning probably not going to lose 8 places because like there's only so many cars behind her that are that much faster than her. So Blossom could actually score in this round, just like Bubbles did in the last one. So it'd take a bit of luck, I suppose. So Autumn just denied Alex. Now I'm the new Ryan Storm. I'm just gonna make a 9-car train because my vehicle is terrible and I can't bother to fix it. Reciting looks to be a relevant part of the event here. I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't want to do that, but you know. Austin wasn't fit for a while, and then Alex did more Alex things. This is gonna be a problem again, isn't it? Oops, I did it again. Alex is just gonna be broken the entire thing, and now I can't really change it because we've already done a whole race. I can. It's a pain in the butt, but I can. Falcon's got so much straight line speed, but as you can just see by this one corner, he doesn't have anywhere to go with it. Gearhead runs the fastest, and I prefer to be Alex. Then again, he is probably caught behind, or was probably caught behind someone. He was probably behind Grease Lightning, then that changed. That'll change when the Ferrari Nation attacked. I just made myself roll my own eyes there. You can always go for the canonical scapegoat that Alex is just really that good of a driver, but I think everyone knows, including Alex himself, that he just keeps getting, like, stupidly good cars, and none of the opponents can do anything besides get passed by it. As you can see. Falcon has, like, the smallest top speed advantage. The literal smallest, but as soon as you get to a corner, Alex is just like, hello, how are you? I'm going to take your spot now, thank you. And Grease Lightning is indeed striking back. Top speed of his car isn't to be overlooked too much, but the handling is, on the other hand. He's sort of like Captain Falcon, but he's kind of like a slightly different variation on him, like a teeny bit slower in a straight line, but he has the actual cornering. Gearhead is now part of the train. It's a 6-car train, so Falcon and Gearhead are about to split it, and also the race is about to be over in like 45 seconds, so you know. What's funny is, so while Mojo Jojo made his way here, it's because he was simply seeking out the Powerpuffs, and he has definitely found them, and he happens to know how to drive, I guess? I mean, if we're gonna assume kindergartners, or if we're going off of what the anime characters are, then 13-year-olds can drive, and I don't see why a genius monkey can't either, but all that aside, he did make his way into the tournament. However, there have been, of course, several editions that I had ideas for that didn't make it, or haven't made it yet. And 2 of the 3 I have rejected for one reason or another. No. There's one I have rejected, one I'm saying probably not, and the other I'm saying probably will, but it'll be really late in the act. Or at least, like, when I say no, I mean they won't be in the first 10. They'll be here eventually, probably. Since, like I said, that's going to be an ongoing thing until Keeley runs out of Hot Wheels games. It'll just be 1 act per new game. So, if we finish Micro Racers before we finish Act 10, which I'm thinking you will, there'll be an 11th act. And so on until you run out of games, basically. I have a plan for Act 11. It's just going to be Act 1 with some new cars, because apparently Act 1 and 2 were the best ones, so I'm just going to pull an Ubisoft and just keep repeatedly making the same good ones over and over again until they're no longer good. Also another kind of race. My thought is, it gets interesting in the opening because it's the start. The middle, it gets really boring, so I'm trying to have a lot of the good tracks there, and then also a few of the good tracks towards the end to kind of like have a thrilling conclusion. So the first like 4 or 5, no, they're not going to be all that crazy. They're not going to be that interesting. Also, think of it, Red Bull Ring is just sort of like the, it's like this game's, like, Satellite City, or Space Out, kind of. It's not exactly a complex track. It only has 9 turns, whereas most tracks definitely have over 12. Alright, Alex starts 14th. The only one that starts behind him is Carbon. I did think about having a point system specifically for the Lamborghinis. Like, the leading Lamborghini gets 3 points, 2 for second, 1 for third, and the last of them gets nothing. But I figured that I don't really care enough, so I'm not going to do that. Besides, it's been shown to me that they can score points anyway. As Mojo Jojo does get a decent start, but that's not to be for very long, as here comes the wheeler and the dealer with his crazy old race car from like the 70s or something. Well, alright, that. Just yoink that position from Auto. Oh yeah, so the kind of like the rejected editions, some ideas that I had, 3 of which were based off of games that have been played on the channel. The first and kind of the most obvious one being SpongeBob. And he's kind of one of those of, it's not a no, but it's not a yes. I just sort of feel like if I put him in, I won't know what car to put him in, and so I just didn't do that. I just didn't put him in at all. Also, Mojo's driving his monkey behind off, but it doesn't matter. He can drive as fast as he wants, but that car is definitely faster. I think I kind of put him in a similar car that I had beat in a while ago with the yellow Porsche. It wouldn't exactly be that, but it'd be kind of a similar car that can be yellow. The other thought is, I haven't looked, but if that Shelby Cobra, which would be like Captain Falcon's car, Metacog's first car, so fast in Act 2. If that comes in green, we could put SpongeBob in that and say it's this hot rod from Creature from the Krusty Krab. That'd be kind of a cool homage, I feel like, but I don't know if it does come in green. This is all I looked at. Like, the blue livery and the yellow livery and the black livery were all on the first page of liveries. And so there are 3 pages, but I didn't look at the other 2 because of those already being there and convenient, so. As Grease Lightning just like muscles away XT3. It's like a shunning rejection. Where was Grease Lightning going there? Yeah, some speed, not enough, apparently. The next one was, this one would be probably no, but even if I did put it in, I would have to put SpongeBob in. I thought about putting Plankton if I did put SpongeBob in, but he would only work in the lower tiers, lower act cars, because the idea for him being in like really tiny cars, well, there aren't very many small cars at this level, so it's not exactly like you could run in this act, even if you wanted to, even if I wanted him to, because Plankton is my favorite SpongeBob character. Because he's the only one in the entire series that didn't become, like, intolerable from, like, season 4 onwards. He was the villain, but he ended up being, like, the one you wanted to just, you know, be fine for once, because Krabs became punk, among other characters that kind of got watered down. I mean, yeah, they're fixing it, but I mean, there was about a 10-year span where I was beginning to wonder why it's even on TV, and I'm absolutely not the only one, but it's just kind of how it is. Anyway, Alex is... yeah, I know the moment Alex starts in, like, the first 4 positions, this is gonna be a blowout race. The only reason Alex hasn't done anything better than this is because of the fact that he just keeps starting way in the back, and or just not close enough to win. Also, for the most part, it's been a lot of the same cars up here. That here is kind of the first, like, standout performance here, because he hasn't been up here in the first 2 races, and now he's suddenly just like, yeah, driving! We're still in 5th? Nani? He really wants to take over Townsville. Just wants to... I don't know how and why, it's just been kind of agreed that if Mojo beats the girls in the race, he's destroyed them and can just take over the city unhindered. That's not really how that works. Then again, we beat that by beating him in a race, so... maybe he's trying to wear him out so he can use one of his crazy inventions or something. Another one, now this is ironic given what I put in the comments of the last video. I've strongly considered Sonic at one point. He fits right in. All he does is race and go fast. It's literally his entire purpose is to go fast and stop bad guys. Namely Eggman, because he doesn't really have very many other ones, so... So I guess the idea is that there's just always one that's outstanding in their field. Because the other girls here are doing just nothing. Lawson can't even pass me, and I'm in, like, the worst car ever. I mean, I'm sure that would win in, like, Act 2 or 3, but, like, right now, it looks pretty bad. The only reason I haven't put Sonic in is because I have, like, a very specific plan for him. But I don't know how well aforementioned plan is going to work out. It's funny because this set of cars was actually supposed to be the finale. These were supposed to be kind of like the tier 5 cars. Before I switched the terminology to acts and decided there'd be 10, and I had to have like 5 extra ones that somehow added to the series in some way. And most of them don't, but it's beside the point. Oh my god, what the heck? It was incredibly professional, but we'll just move on from that now. The other two, Dexter from Dexter's Lab is one of 2 definite no's. I feel like I've already kind of flooded this with Cartoon Network characters. We have 4 of them already running around in this race alone. And I didn't even watch much Dexter compared to the Powerpuff Girls or the... Oh, okay. Actually, no, I can see exactly why you did that. That's Otto. Dismissed. Please proceed. Proceed. I don't know why I suddenly became Black Doom, but I did. The ramifications of your disobedience will be severe. Fucking, I don't know. Anyhow. So, a little bit of interesting tactics. Grease Lightning did finally, albeit forced, but he passed Von Diesel, and unless Von Diesel does something nuts into these final 2 turns, he's going to keep that 7th place. He is going to keep that 7th place. And Mojo with 6. What? What are these Lamborghinis? What is this? You guys are supposed to be terrible, not 6th place. Oh, it would collide at the end of the race. I guess Grease didn't get the memo the race is over. He's just trying to pass Moto Jojo. Or I guess maybe they just keep racing on and on until they just leave. I mean, I know that's exactly what they do, but like, why? The race would have gotten very interesting had we had another lap, that's for sure. And the final, like, character that I didn't put in... I say that they were supposed to have, like, relevance to games that you've played. Dexter definitely doesn't. But the problem being that the other characters that I had slightly considered showing up here were characters I didn't know anything about. I didn't watch the Klonoa games. I didn't watch Viva Pinata. I didn't watch, like, whatever else, like, Digimon or whatever that was we played over the weekend uploads. And I didn't feel like... because of course, like, I'm not gonna watch, even if, you know, even if it is your channel, it doesn't matter what channel it is, if we don't know anything about the game in question, or I'm not curious about it, I'm not going to watch a video on it. And I didn't feel like it was necessary to go through all of those videos on all of the Klonoa series, if that's even how you say that, to gain all this information about a character If that's even the name of the character, which I don't even know that. But to like get all this information on a character in it, just for the little cameo appearance here for like one championship, and then it just didn't seem worth it, so I just didn't do that character. As for Viva Pinata, they even have a main character on that game. Also, the Pikmin series, I think you played that, if I remember right. I could just be looking at your channel to figure it out, but I just didn't. I'm just not, because I don't know. There have been a few other rejections. They've just been kind of thrown to the wayside. A few of them came around from that kind of like Ferrari-based side series that I put there a while ago. Some of the drivers, like, I'd planned on having that Cameron guy, because it's a person that I actually, like, know. And he has played all of the other, most of the Hot Wheels games. He's played all of the ones that were on a PlayStation 2. And so it's not like he doesn't know Hot Wheels, so I figured he'd be kind of a decent match in that sense. This is what I mean to be very confused. I think you're going to your channel, or to that channel, just to like see different playlists and see what else you've actually played through. Like I didn't actually know anything about Jet Set Radio, but I knew enough to understand he skates around, he puts graffiti everywhere, and he's frequently wanted by police. Of course, I didn't know, like, why, but you did explain in the comments. I mean, I thought you played well. Lilo and Stitch. I do know those characters. I guess I'd probably put Stitch in, I suppose. Or maybe do like a Ryan Storm Race Cam King. Yes, from Tekken. Obvious. What am I talking? English, please. Maybe they're doing like a Ryan Storm and Race Cam thing, or like a Mario Kart Double Dash effect, where they're both in the car, cooperating. Freedom Planet was another one. I didn't know anything about that. I know it's like a slightly different Sonic game. Oh, I didn't know. I'm like, every time I look through here, I keep seeing random things I didn't see before. I hadn't even noticed you'd played Sly. Well, a Sly game. Oh, good. You played Shadow the Hedgehog, so you'll know that reference. You'll know who Black Doom is. Good. Infamous. I guess I could have done a... Again, they had to be prominent characters. You only played one... You only played, like, one of some of these series. Like, yeah, you did play the SSX games, but they don't have a main character, I don't think. But, like, Sly, you only played once. It's not like you played all three, and Thieves in Time, and whatever else. Yeah, so even though I know about Sly, and you know about Sly Cooper, but it doesn't mean that that necessarily dictates him being here. Of course, you could make the same claim for why the Powerpuff Girls are here, other than because of them being my favorite cartoon show, was from when you said that you would consider playing one of their old GBA games at one point or another, somewhere in the... at some point in the future. Of course, neither of us probably. I don't even know. I don't know when. I don't suppose you might even know when. I don't know. I mean, you tend to plan things very well in advance, so maybe you do. Also, no, I'm not trying to pad the runtime. I could be doing a drift thing right now, but I don't know who to drive as because we don't have a champion right now. We just have Alex leading, and also I don't think many of these cars would be good for drifting anyway because of the race cars. They're designed to not slide around as much as possible. Granted, they still usually do, but they try to minimize it as much as they can. And especially with cars like, I mean, granted they wouldn't win, but like the Lamborghini GT cars that are running around and the Powerpuff Girls characters, that's not going to drift, no matter what I do. Maybe something like that's car, or like maybe Greased Lightning's car might drift, but other than that, I guess like the only other character I considered, because I didn't even look at the full list of games. I just, like I said, I didn't remember you played Sly Cooper, but even then, if I had known, I wouldn't even considered him being a character because he's not a major part. Something like, Klonoa being the first thing that came to mind because you've done like 12 Let's Plays of those kinds of games. So clearly you must enjoy them. I don't even know what they are, but clearly you enjoy them, and or clearly they are popular on the channel, and so that makes them kind of a relevant part of the whole makeup of the channel. Just like SpongeBob games, which is kind of why Plankton, and I also considered a couple of times maybe saying that, I'd originally even thought of like Danny Phantom, but then I realized, wait, we already have Danny here. Granted, he isn't in this championship, but that's beside the point. He wasn't even considered for it, because there are no Toyotas that are fast enough. I couldn't possibly think of a way to put him in here. There really aren't any Japanese cars besides that 787B, and, well, that didn't get anywhere either. So, yeah, Danny was just kind of left out in the rain, but Ryan got kicked out too. I guess Ryan played the cash cab or something? Anyway. The only other character that I considered was Sailor Moon. I made references to the character a handful of times, like when I kind of introduced the cast in Act 7. What I said about Burn is like, I think I actually did the reference wrong. I think I said nighttime and daytime. It was supposed to be moonlight and sunlight or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't actually get to watch the show yet. I'm trying to actually figure out a way to watch it, and that's one reason why I didn't put her in. Also because you didn't play any Sailor Moon games, and for all I know, you may not know anything about her either. I honestly don't, other than that she wears those stupid Japanese schoolgirl outfits that are more risque than they have any reason to be, but they do that anyway. Don't ask me, ask Japan, man. And she's basically a Japanese Powerpuff Girl. I say that even though those exist. I think I mentioned the anime on a couple of occasions. There's an anime version that came in like 2006 of the Powerpuff Girls, in which the girls were 13 and weren't sisters, or they were alive well before they got their powers. And said series was kind of a Sailor Moon style show, which is kind of what gave me the idea to try and watch it before finding that the company that owns the animation company studio that did Sailor Moon does not like their content being anywhere on YouTube. They're very, very picky about it. As in, I couldn't even find the opening very easily. Like, the theme song of the show, usually you can at least find that for just about anything, but nope. Couldn't even find that in English. So, but I did the reference wrong when I did Burns' description. I said, like, I want to say, I believe I said, like, running off the road by nighttime, running into other cars by daytime. But I probably should have, wow. I became a woman with braces for a second there. What I probably should have said would have been, to make it funnier and more accurate, would have probably been running people off the road by moonlight, losing races by daylight. That'd have been more ironic. Or more random adjectives that don't work. That'd be more fitting. But again, the other reason, besides the fact that your channel had nothing to do with that character, or there are games for the show, but of course you've never played them. I haven't even seen them played on YouTube, other than, like, I saw, like, one review video for SNES games. Even though that's not the only system they were on. And I think everyone should have probably have known that. But that's not the point. But maybe I actually think I might have seen one channel that I watch play or have a video of one of the games. I doubt it, but I feel like I've seen it somewhere. Anyway, it's not relevant. But the other reason, kind of like with, like, SpongeBob, or with like, I guess it's a lack of information to an extent, but it's also just like, the heck would they drive? I mean, I have a hard time putting the Hot Wheels characters into cars sometimes, as you can tell. But, like, or at least fitting cars. At least with the additions, they don't have to repeat. They don't have to repeatedly appear. They can only be a one-time thing. They don't have to appear multiple times. Most all of them have. Obviously, except for Mojo, who's only been here once. But all of the additions that have appeared before that have come back a second time. But that's just because I know enough about the character, and at the very least, all I really necessarily need to know about a character is, like, the color of clothing they wear. Like, I know Mortimer is, like, eccentric, quirky, I guess a genius, I think? And I originally put him in an old car, like the old Porsche, because he's kind of an old guy. And then I put him in the 2014 Corvette in Act 7, which nothing really necessitated that was the car he would drive, but that was just kind of the car I put him in. Because it was white, more or less, because he wears a white shirt. Beat, same thing. Yeah, he had some sort of relations to the Ford GT40, and I may think about that later when opponent cars kind of allow for it. But at the same time, I don't know how that would work. There's a very specific set of cars that can really compete with the GT40. Ironically enough, I would actually say my own, or Riker's car is one of them. There's a third car that ran the 24 Hours of Le Mans the same year as the GT40 and my 917. And I think that might be Alex's car, or Burns. I think Alex can probably find one of his, like, 6 different Ferraris for that. Probably, there's an upgraded F40 that I think might be even-ish, I don't know. Anyway, it's not the point. But I base that off of if it's a sporty car and it's yellow. If you've played Sonic racing games, especially the first one, Beat had like a golden, like, kind of roadster looking car. With no real reason to why it looked the way it did, but it looked that way. And while the grill reminded me of a very different car that's not here on this game, with a Porsche. And that's kind of been his car Up until he stole Ryan Storm's RX-7 in Act, like, 4 or 5. It was 5, not 4. Definitely wasn't 4. Beat wasn't in 4. It was only in 2, 5, and 7. 7. But, like, I don't know enough about Sailor Moon or Klonoa. If that's even the main character's name, I might be pulling a Legend of Zelda here. The main character is not Zelda. But, again, it might not even be a character at all. Maybe it's the place. I have no idea. You could probably tell me in the comments. Because I'm unlikely to watch the videos in the near future. Or like the Shantae was another one. I know basic gist. I don't know anything else. Sonic and SpongeBob and probably Timmy Turner, because Danny's basically already here, even if it's Danny Justice, not Danny Phantom. But that would be really confusing to call two of the same character Danny and be meaning totally different characters. Plus, it's been kind of assumed I just put Justice there because Danny Phantom would be kind of awkward. And Justice was his name from Velocity X, though that was Max Justice, but... I think it's some kind of it wasn't like assumed, it was like an alternate version of Danny Phantom who acted this way, acted aggressively, had a rough sense of justice, acted aggressively, enjoyed destroying things, and blowing people up, and was combat-oriented, which was like, accurate to Danny Phantom in that regard, but not really any other way. I believe that was what the idea was, and it kind of got brushed over because he got so used to calling him Danny, despite that not being his name. I should be running low on recording time here, I would think. I could have done another race in this time span, now that I think about it. I just scared the crap out of me. I got a message. I got a message on PSN and I just, like, about pissed myself a little bit. I didn't, of course, but just, like, I was taken completely by surprise. So yeah, before I ran for another 5 minutes and suddenly discovered the video clip ran out of recording time, that'll be it for the first episode of Act 8. It seems to be, at most, a 5-car fight here. And maybe we'll see some big up. Maybe Buttercup will finally score next round. Who really knows? There's kind of the subplot. Basically, this is the end of the Powerpuff Girls being here, regardless of what happens. If at least one of the girls wins. Okay, so this is how it's gonna work. If they tie, they stay here. If only one girl wins and Mojo beats out the other two, nothing happens. If two of the girls beat Mojo, Mojo is defeated and everyone leaves. And if all three of them, of course, they all leave. I feel like if it's only one person, if it's only one of them that beats Mojo, Mojo comes back in a slower car. I guess maybe if it's two that beat, or one that, if Mojo beats two of them, maybe that way those two get a weaker car. I don't know. But if Mojo beats all three, like he's doing right now, the girls are destroyed.